President Biden's call for unity might seem overly aspirational to many people. I mean, there's a fair amount of evidence to suggest that it is just that. Out of the 155 million people that voted in our most recent presidential election, the election was won by President Biden by only about 7 million votes. You combine that reality with what we saw, the insurrection attempt on January 6, 2020, and it's hard to see how this nation can ever become unified again. But I am here to answer his call in the only silly little way that I do it, and asking you to consider things in a different manner, especially when we talk about the vote totals. You see, when I mentioned that 155 million people voted in the United States election, keep in mind that that is a greater percentage of people, a greater number of people than have ever voted in a presidential election in our nation's history. And what that shows me, while the number ultimately is deeply divided, that we have more passion. We as Americans have more passion for the direction of our country than we ever had. So for me, when I think about unity, I think about what could 155 million of us do when we join together as one. Does that mean we're going to agree on all the issues? No, it doesn't. But I bet you, if you really thought about it, you and I, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, you and your neighbor, you and your boss, probably agree on about 90% of the issues that confront us. For example, do rationally minded people really believe that a family should be bankrupt in their effort to cure their family member or loved one from a dreadful disease, a fatal disease? I don't think so. Do rationally minded people believe that people of color should fear the police, or that police should be degraded because they are police officers? Do rationally minded people really believe that somebody should be able to possess a weapon in this country without even the most minimal background check? I don't think so. And you could say, okay, Kirk, the devil's in the details, and we're going to disagree when we get down to brass tacks of how that's done. That's probably true. But if we agree on those bigger principles, something magical happens. As I see it anyway, we become unified in purpose. We say, how do we solve these issues? And the other person isn't an enemy, but a person equally interested in raising the common ground. They may have different ways of viewing how to raise that common ground. But when we're in that together, we are unified. And then we don't become combatants. We become co-workers. We become people working together towards solutions. 155 million of us working together to look for solutions that will help raise that common ground. And we don't think much about that common ground, because what happens on TV and magazines and everywhere else is, and the internet in particular, right, is that people are asserting their viewpoints, extreme viewpoints, on the issues that divide us. We're standing on that 10% for which division stands, and we're watching the common ground around us sink. Again, what if we raise that common ground? And you could say, well, Kirk, those issues you pointed out, they're so general, they're so vague, of course we can agree on some of those silly principles. But we don't think about it that way, do we? And those issues, those silly, vague issues, or however you want to characterize them, they address healthcare, police reform, as well as gun control. Now think about that for a minute. Those are just three issues, but those are three issues that have plagued our nation for a number of years, for decades, because people have stood on their uncommon ground and pointed fingers and therefore nothing that has helped this nation grow has happened. We have been divided. Unity doesn't mean that we have to agree on every single issue and every single detail. But it means that we have to come together, united in purpose, united in the purpose of making America what we aspire for it to be a country of freedom, to be a country of love, and to be a country of hope. If we unify in that purpose, I think President Biden is right, that anything is possible. And that might just mean talking to your neighbors about their viewpoint. It might mean ignoring a social media post that angers you. It might mean for you making a video like this. It might mean for you just changing your mindset. It might mean for you listening more. I don't know what it's going to mean. But I know that if you and I and whoever else in this country decides that they want to work together and act from a place, that common purpose of making all our lives better, that unity is not only possible, but probable, and ultimately where our destiny will be found, in the dignified discourse that comes from talking, from listening, and from working and reinstilling the lost art of compromise that is the key to democracy. That's the America I hope to see. That's the America I hope to see in the future. And I hope that your vision of America aligns with mine. But it may not in the details, but that's okay, because we can still love each other, support each other, and work hard towards making the American dream a reality for all. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you'll consider what I have to say. I love you, and we'll see you next time.